Thank you, family and friends, for being here today and supporting us for the last 4 years. We really couldn't have done it without you. Thank you to all my classmates for giving me the opportunity to speak to you all. When I was thinking about writing my speech, it was actually pretty easy because this is just such a happy moment, and the common denominator really is UCSF. I thank UCSF for accepting all of us into their program and allowing us to get here. I thank them for sitting me next to my future wife in SimLab. I thank them for letting me be here for 2 Giants World Series. We have all made some of the best relationships in our lives while at UCSF, while they've been friends, patients, faculty, or staff. A very dear friend of Ashley and I that we made here, Mark Caskey, gave me a few words of wisdom recently. Mark told me that everything in life revolves around the relationships we make, how we preserve these relationships, and where we choose to take them. It's these relationships that create the everlasting memories that make our past relevant. Keep all of this in mind as I remind everybody about the aspects of UCSF that we have all become accustomed to that we will miss very much. So for starters, you're now going to have to print your own coupons because Abe's not going to be able to send them to our emails. You're going to have to hire an IT person because Ruben and Scott aren't going to be around anymore. You're going to have to be extra punctual because Tom won't be there casually and perfectly 15 to 30 minutes late, buying us all a little extra time. Finzen's not going to be able to come up to you and ask you, "Hey bro, can I borrow all your endo stuff? I'm doing my CE at 8:25, 5 minutes before his appointment." And Jason, you're going to have to get used to being called doctor because it's been 2 years since Dr. Scott said to you, "Hey doctor," and you're still giddy about it. So I have a few other personal stories about my experience here at UCSF. So the first one is when I walked into SimLab my very first year, first day of clinic, with basketball shorts, a Giants cap, t-shirt, and my white coat unbuttoned. I saw Dr. Graham up at the front. He was the first faculty there, so I casually went up to him and I said, "Should I go get my tools?" And he looked down at me right above the rim of his glasses and he goes, "We don't use tools in dentistry. We use instruments. You use tools to work on cars and build houses. So you can grab your instruments whenever you please." So I said, "Okay," and I laughed a little bit and I went and got my instruments. Fast forwarding a couple of years while on the clinic floor, I had a really quick question. So without thinking, I found the closest green gown. And for those of you that don't know the hierarchy of UCSF Dental Clinic, green gown equals authority and Axiom swipe card. And blue gown equals lost and looking for an Axiom swipe card. So I started to ask Dr. White a question, and before I could even start, he puts his hand on my shoulder and says, "Put your doctor hat on and think with your doctor brandish in there." So, and he was right, it was in there, and I laughed and I went back and never again did I ask a question before thinking about it. And lastly, when I first started clinic, my clinic coach, Dr. Atkinson, asked me what I expected from clinic. I quickly thought and rambled some things, amongst which was that I wanted to be comfortable with the clinical procedures. I had just opened up a can of Paul Atkinson worms. He says to me, "Comfortable is when all sorts of things happen, Jay. You drill in the wrong tooth, you forget standards, ethics, and before you know it, you extract the wrong tooth on the mayor's daughter. Next thing you know, you don't have a license." And he continues, because the stories aren't short. He says, "Don't be comfortable ever. Become confident in what you do. Confidence is what will carry you through your career. Keep learning and always work towards becoming more confident. Take CE courses and challenge yourself." And that was my very first day in clinic with Dr. Atkinson. Every day had its own theme, story, and lesson. So I can go on and on about stories like this at UCSF, because this is what UCSF has been for me. It's been an environment where I can come in on a daily basis and pick the brains of some of the brightest professors in dentistry.
We have been very fortunate that we have been given this opportunity to be around such great people. The dental knowledge will all come to us, but the wisdom that we have been surrounded by for the past 4 years is what I was reminiscing about while I was writing the speech. I would often share these experiences with my mentor and great friend, Dr. Roy Nassari. He refers to these experiences as footprints in our very young careers. So when I look back at my UCSF education, I don't see grades, completed courses, national board exams, or just regular exams. Rather, I see a chronological map of footprints, all intertwined like a web that is applicable to every facet of life. Nothing can replace these memories. So we leave the UCSF nest today, and after Dr. Cozy pats us on the shoulder one last time and tells us, "Good job! You did excellent! You're amazing, you know that?" It's our job to spread the wisdom we have been given here to the communities we're going to be instantly leaders in. As we graduate today, not as 1401, 1402, or whatever number you were given, but as the class of 2014, try and look around and think deeply of the footprints left in your career by anyone here at UCSF. Cherish these relationships and memories, continue to allow them to evolve. Let's go out there with our instruments, doctor hats, confidence, and be the excellent and amazing professionals we have been trained to be. Thank you.